Today on Good Morning Maine, Ellsworth City Council has decided to part ways with Police Chief Glenn Mosier.
Plus, the city of Bangor is working on a social media campaign in an attempt to bring more visitors to the area.
And pro-life supporters were at the State House on Monday, hoping to raise money to help unwanted children.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up. But first, we're going to start with a check of the forecast. And it's looking pretty nice. No big storms on the way at this point anyway. It looks like we'll have partly cloudy skies the next couple of days. And things will be warming up, too.
I miss the sun.
Yeah, I miss the sun, too.
Yeah.
We can use a nice sunny spring day.
We're getting there. It's almost mud season.
Yeah.
It's just that
I
wind.
think mud season's already here.
I know the wind makes it seem like it's not it, though.
It has a bite to it.
Yeah. Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college. All righty, we have a gale warning that remains posted until 2 p.m. this afternoon. No, along the coast because of active surf that will be seen as an area low pressure continues to sit and spin right nearby. It's also giving us a few returns on the radar of some snow that's been developing. Now, we might notice a few snow flurries throughout the morning period today as we do move forward in time. Let's zoom things out right now, though. It's just the eastern parts of the state that's dealing with this now with this area low pressure that continues to slowly but surely track off towards the east. We'll start to lose this thing coming up later on today and into parts of tonight as well. Futurecast moving forward, though, again, we'll lose the snow, maybe a few flurries left over. The clouds will again begin to break up later on. So partly cloudy today, partly cloudy tonight, and partly cloudy again for the daytime tomorrow. A little bit of a breeze out there, though. It's still windy. Some sustained winds up to 20 miles per hour at times today and also in the parts of tomorrow. By Wednesday morning, we'll start to see the winds backing off just a bit. So for today, mid-40s, partly cloudy, a few morning flurries with a northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, here we go, upper 20s, partly cloudy and windy with that northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. Alrighty, that hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, a few morning flurries, temperatures warming into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Pro-life supporters were at the State House Monday to make their voices heard, advocating for a new fundraising project. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
The pro-life movement in general has been viewed somewhat negatively by some people as what we're against. And really what we need to be focused on is what we are for.
Jennifer White is the executive director for Maine Right to Life. They held their annual Hands at the Capitol event on Monday to bring together pro-life people and organizations from throughout the state to talk about their priorities and launch a new fundraising effort to help pay for the cost of safe haven baby boxes throughout the state.
Some may wonder what a baby box is, and it really is just a secure, safe box that is attached to like a fire station, a police station, a medical building. People can leave their baby if they feel like they're unable to really take care of that baby, and that baby will be cared for and adopted.
Among the speakers was Anna Gary, a 19-year-old and chapter president for Turning Point USA of Kennebec County. She spoke about why she feels it's important for young people to speak up and get involved in politics.
Nowadays, Gen Z is being thrown under the bus as being one of the most trans generations, one of the most hopeless, most lost generations right now. It is really important for us to hear from those that are of my age, that are in Gen Z, that there is hope.
White says one of the pieces of legislation Maine Right to Life is standing against is LD 780, which would enshrine abortion and reproductive care in Maine's Constitution.
I think whenever you're going to add something to the Constitution, you have to be very careful, and adding abortion to our Constitution is just a terrible, terrible idea.
Because it's a constitutional amendment, it would need to be passed by a 2/3 majority in both the House and Senate before making its way to a ballot referendum. Gary hopes it won't make it that far.
I personally do not think it will make it to the ballot, so I don't think we will be voting on it. I believe it will get voted down. I may be wrong. I could be wrong, but that is where I stand at the moment.
At the State House, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
The November 2024 election may still be 8 months away, but referendum questions are already in the process of getting approved for the ballot. One of those initiatives would seek to limit donations to super PACs, otherwise known as independent expenditure-only committees. Currently, super PACs are allowed to raise and spend unlimited amounts of money as long as there is no direct coordination with political candidates or parties. The referendum question proposes limiting donors to $5,000 annually to super PACs that spend money in Maine elections. The initiative has gathered enough voter signatures to qualify for the November ballot.
Union leaders representing thousands of state workers are fighting for an option to work from home, arguing that they have a better work-life balance and are more productive while working remotely. Owen Kingsley is learning why Augusta city leaders worry that that could be bad for local business.
MSEA Local 1989 represents 9,000 Maine state workers. Their current contract with the state requires them to be in the office at least 2 days a week, but the union claims that about half of them are capable of doing their jobs full-time remotely.
So you end up doing the same thing in the office that you would do at home.
Mark Brunton left his position at Maine DHHS when he became president of the union last year. He says during the COVID pandemic, they were told by their managers that productivity increased when they went remote and that many workers preferred staying home.
It's easier for them to transition from home life to work life.
Their current contract with the state ends July of next year, but conversations among union members are starting now about allowing more workers to go remote.
And the state has a terrible, a big recruitment and retention problem right now. And that is one factor that could make it more attractive.
Augusta city officials are worried about an unintended consequence.
The biggest concern is that if they're working remotely, they're not in the city of Augusta during the day.
My business is designed on foot traffic, so I guess there's a little hesitation, and a little bit of concern on what that might do to impact the downtown.
The state did not comment on this specific concern, but a spokesperson for the Department of Administrative and Financial Services says about 70% of state workers in Augusta do not work remotely. The other 30% work from home part-time. Fewer than 0.5% telework full-time.
Ellsworth City Councilor has decided to part ways with Police Chief Glenn Mosier, or their city council rather. Councilors voted unanimously last night to fire the chief. Mosier had been serving as Ellsworth's police chief and city manager, but had been placed on administrative leave. City officials have not discussed the reasons for the action, saying it's a confidential personnel matter. According to the Bangor Daily, the council also voted last night to appoint Deputy Chief Troy Beers to serve as interim chief. Charles Pierce has also been hired to take over as city manager in April.
Intense flames has destroyed a massive barn in Knox County. The flames erupted in the barn in Owl's Head on Sunday night. According to the Courier-Gazette, the flames destroyed the building along with 3 boats that were being stored inside. No one was hurt in the fire, and the State Fire Marshal's office was expected to visit the scene to try to find a cause.
State fire marshals also continue to look for the cause of a fire that destroyed a piece of Millinocket's history. Crews were called to Penobscot Avenue just after 7:30 Sunday morning. Fire Chief Jonathan Cody says when they arrived, flames were shooting out of the former bank building, and they were concerned the flames would spread to nearby buildings. He says they had to battle high winds and rain, and it took hours to put out the fire.
We had 2 firefighters injured. They're all minor injuries. They were transported to the local hospital by our ambulance here at the fire station, and they were released later on in the day.
Locals say although the building had been unoccupied for years, the building once served as a bank and has been part of the downtown area for decades.
Now the historic building on Main Street that could have been renovated, lost. We're very fortunate that it didn't burn the municipal building or the Katahdin Valley Health Center. It's just a huge loss for downtown Millinocket once again.
While the town office was not destroyed, it was closed on Monday, while the damage to it was assessed. Officials say it should be open as normal today. However, the bank building is a total loss. 2 firefighters were injured on Sunday, but they've been treated and released from the hospital. The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating what may have started that fire.
Boy.
Yeah, really frustrating. Okay, the time now is 8:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the city of Bangor is working on a social media campaign in an attempt to bring more visitors to the area. We'll have the details.
Matt Duranczyk was playing tourist yesterday.
He had fun.
Yeah. But first, another check of that weather forecast. A partly cloudy day today. Just a chance of a few flurries this morning. The highs will be near 45 degrees. Partly cloudy and windy overnight, lows dropping down to the upper 20s. Tomorrow, another partly cloudy day, but warmer with a high near 53. We'll be right back.
Behind every keepsake, there's a memory. Behind every photo, there's a story. Behind Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration, there's people giving back by bringing back what was thought to be lost. The details, the time, and the expertise, all packaged up behind a name that Mainers have trusted for over 35 years. Statewide commercial and residential services. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories. We'll handle the rest.
Orono is more than just a college town. It's an affordable destination. Welcome to the Orono Arcade, where we have both modern and retro games. And for a new experience, check out our 9-hole blacklight mini golf course. Budget-friendly, fun for the whole family, with 13 restaurants within walking distance. We look forward to seeing you soon at the Orono Arcade.
My Signature hybrid mattress
versus this leading brand name hybrid mattress. Both combine types of memory foam with inner spring coils.
But my Signature is just $9.99. Theirs is $21.99.
Sure, they're not exactly the same, but is theirs worth so much more?
Oh my Bob!
Hi, I'm Angelina Mucci.
And I'm Andy Mucci of Family Fun Bowling Center.
When we want to know the weather, we go to foxbangor.com.
Celebrating our 50th anniversary year, Family Fun Bowling Center has 20 lanes of 10-pin bowling at its best.
Sheldon and Missy face off in...
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book smarts versus street smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. The name Andy Gove is synonymous with the town of Stonington, but after several coastal storms, the wharf bearing the late fisherman's name has become unusable and dangerous to walk on. Well, now the family is looking for help from the community. Andy Gove often went the extra mile for when he was alive. Our Doug Banks shares their story.
I'm just glad he wasn't here to see it, because that would kill him.
Andy Gove's wharf has been woven into the fabric of the local fishing industry for generations.
Well, it's been there ever since we lived here, which I think was 1955.
Because of storm damage, this piece of history is in danger of being erased.
We've got it tied. There's a rope there with anchors on each end because we didn't want it to go out the ocean. We were going to have someone just give us an estimate and try to fix it, but it's become a lot more now than we expected.
Gove's grandson and Myrna's son, Andrew, recently started a GoFundMe to remove the barge and rebuild a small portion of the wharf. Called Rebuild Andy Gove's Wharf, the fundraiser has already garnered over $1,000.
That does make us feel better, and knowing that we got a lot of support.
Though he's been gone almost 4 years now, the Gove's legacy is everlasting, and so too is the love his community still feels for him.
I can't tell you how many people come out and said, if it wasn't for your dad, I wouldn't be where I am. I had the best dad, for sure.
Now the family hopes his wharf will be everlasting too.
When things happen like this, you have to walk through it and just do the best you can, and we'll figure it out.
The link to their GoFundMe page will be available on our website, foxbangor.com. In Stonington, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Penobscot Community Healthcare may have a new operator for the Hope House in Bangor. That's if state funding gets through the legislature. After years of skyrocketing costs and the end of COVID funds that helped bridge the $1 million gap, it was announced earlier this year that if PCHC couldn't find someone to operate the low-barrier shelter, they would have to close. Recently, PCHC reached out to Preble Street, a nonprofit service center for the City of Portland's unhoused. The idea was that they could take the Hope House under their umbrella with their other two shelters. The operators of Preble Street say they're open to exploring the idea if the state will do their part to help financially support what has been a losing battle with deficits across the state in the millions of dollars.
The long-term funding for low barrier shelters is absolutely critical, and it doesn't exist right now. And so, obviously, Hope House closing is, as I said earlier, it would have a devastating impact on the community. And the only way for us to consider taking over operations is if there is a long-term sustainable path to funding.
Cameron goes on to say if the state doesn't pass some legislation this year to help fund these shelters, there could be other shelters in danger of closing.
Now, some big news for some of our local fire departments. Senator Susan Collins announced Monday that Congress has approved millions of dollars for Maine's first responders. As the vice chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, Collins says she secured almost $18.5 million to build 12 new fire stations and emergency services facilities throughout the state. The money will come from both the 2024 Agriculture and Rural Development Appropriations Bill and the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Appropriations Bill. Some of the communities that will benefit from that money in our area include Caribou, Hancock, Springfield, and those in Randolph as well. Certainly good news for them.
I haven't heard about the Hancock Fire Department for quite some time, but I knew that it was quite dire.
They have a busy little fire department there too.
Yeah.
They get called on a lot of mutual aid calls.
Gotcha.
So.
All right, the time now is 8:16. After the break, Northern Lights Caring Calls program is making a difference in the lives of Maine seniors. You'll hear all about it right after the break.
Don't go away.
My father worked at the mill for over 30 years. He was exposed to a great community and excelled at his job, but he was also exposed to asbestos. The air quality inside the mill was always his biggest complaint. He had no idea how deadly some of the products and materials were. When he was diagnosed with mesothelioma, we knew to call Joe Bornstein's office to get my dad the help he needs and the justice he deserves.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance. At each day's start, as time on, it was easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell.
Little Miss Davis Sweets and Treats, a home-based business that specializes in homemade baked goods. I bake everything from mini cupcakes and cakes, including my giant cookies, cupcakes, and large gingerbread men. I also specialize in baking homemade fudge and brownies too. Everything I bake is made to order, so I do kindly ask for at least a 7-day pickup notice when placing your order. Little Miss Davis Sweets and Treats.
Northern Lights Caring Calls program is making a difference in the lives of Maine seniors. The program is run by volunteers who make daily phone calls to individuals here in our state who are living alone. And as Jody Hersey tells us, one of those calls recently helped save a woman's life.
Leon at Caring Calls, how are you today?
Monday through Friday, volunteers with Northern Light EMMC's Caring Calls program check in on the well-being of Maine seniors living alone, seniors who are registered within the program.
Some of the people we call, you know, they have family and whatever, but others don't, and so they really look forward to that human interaction.
We have a couple of clients that tell us every week, you're the only person I'm going to talk to all day.
The program has been in operation for over 40 years. Laura Lacasse is the hospital's community health coordinator who oversees the volunteers that keep the phones ringing.
It's all volunteer run, so without them, this program would not exist.
Caring Calls recently experienced a situation where one of its participants, Marilyn King, didn't pick up her phone.
So when she couldn't be reached, they reached out to her daughter, who was her backup contact.
King stated, "I am really thankful for this program." Her daughter, Christina True, is just as appreciative, stating that her mom experienced a medical event that prohibited her from calling for help. That call from Caring Calls most likely saved her life, and for that we are forever grateful. Volunteer and former nurse Leon Bennett says he's just happy he was in the right place at the right time.
There again, knowing this client, usually she picks up on the first and second ring, and that's real rewarding to know that you've helped them.
Lacasse says this situation proves just how valuable the Caring Calls program is to the community.
This program is important, and not only for that socialization component, but we also help keep people safe.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The city of Bangor is working on a social media campaign in an attempt to bring more visitors to the area. Our Matthew Dronsick has the story.
We're in the age where social media is omnipresent in our everyday lives, whether it's for finding that perfect food spot, weekend activities, or destinations to visit. The City of Bangor and Chamber of Commerce are looking to take advantage of this, using its newest campaign to feature local resources and attractions in the area.
We know from research that over half of the people that plan their vacations, they do it online. So they're always looking for images and things that are going to excite them, to want them to go to a place. Maine has a lot of beautiful places, so we need to kind of set ourselves apart.
Bangor City Councilors approved the $48,000 social media campaign Tuesday. This is built into the city's current budget, with the money going towards finding an individual or group who will lead the campaign.
Whether you want to visit good old Paul, smile Paul, you're going to be on TV, or visit Stephen King's house. Yeah, we're in front of Stephen King's house.
The City of Bangor always has something for everyone. City officials say they're looking to attract people to the Queen City, and businesses say they're looking forward to this opportunity.
I think it's a great thing for the city, help bring people around and definitely liven the place up a bit.
I think it's an absolutely great thing. I love living in Bangor, Maine, and I think it's a good thing to get the word out about how amazing it is here.
Creek says the plan is to meet with stakeholders, hotels, and downtown Bangor businesses at the end of the tourism season to see how things went.
We're going to ask them those questions. How did this work for you? Did you see an increase? And that way we can formulate, what do we need to do for next year?
Creek says she expects the campaign to be operational this summer, likely around May or June. In Bangor, Matthew Jaroncic, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Great idea.
Yeah, he had fun.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:23.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, gale warnings remain posted until 2 p.m. along the coast later today, though, because an area low pressure continues to sit and spin. And of course, it's causing the surf to get a little bit active out there as well. Here's the wave heights right now. This is why we have gale warnings still posted, because of 2 to 11 foot wave heights being noted according to the buoys there. We'll start to notice some improvements coming up soon. Alrighty, here we go. Area low pressure that's pretty much right off to the east right now, not moving very quickly, still causing a few snow showers and snow flurries to develop this morning. We'll start to lose those as we get towards the afternoon period. Let's zoom things out. We're going to work on pushing this off to the east, and we'll start to calm things down, at least for a little bit, though. You notice we have a little bit of a break across a good part of the country, a little bit of energy across the upper Midwest, but again, we will be watching out for some precipitation that will move in our backyard coming up soon. Futurecast moving forward, though, we'll be watching for a few flurries throughout the morning period. We will lose those during the afternoon period. By tonight, though, just the clouds sticking around. It looks to be about it, along with the gusty winds as well. Once we head towards the Wednesday, a partly cloudy sky with more clouds on the way coming up as we head towards Wednesday night and the parts of Thursday morning. Maybe a few returns of moisture, but I think we'll stay dry for the most part, though, through parts of Thursday. But otherwise, though, we will watch for a little bit of energy that will be on the way as we head towards your Thursday. Some rain showers possible in a few spots, maybe mixing in with a little bit of snow further off towards the north. And as we proceed forward, though, another wave of energy tries to get in here as we head towards Friday afternoon, mainly for the southern parts of the state, but some of those may try to sneak in to our backyard as well. We'll keep an eye on that for Friday. But once we head towards the weekend, though, again, a few rain showers possible, maybe some snow to the north. Again, we'll keep an eye on this, too, as we get a little bit closer. Otherwise, though, gusty winds possible that could reach up to around 35 miles per hour again throughout the daytime period for us today. Will remain breezy again for the daytime tomorrow. Average high temperature is 39 degrees. We'll do mid-40s for us today, lower 50s Wednesday, upper 40s Thursday, low 50s again Friday, and 40s again Saturday, Sunday, and also into your Monday. For today, here we go, mid-40s, partly cloudy, a few morning flurries with that northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, here we go, upper 20s, partly cloudy and windy out there, northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. Tomorrow, here we go, lower 50s, partly cloudy, the wind's calming down out of the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. A few higher gusts cannot be ruled out. All righty, here's a look at extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Rain showers possible Thursday with highs in the upper 40s. Small chance for rain on Friday, highs in the low 50s. And mid-40s on Saturday with a chance for rain and snow showers.
Lewis Black, Goodbye Yeller Brick Road, the final tour.
When I was in elementary school, then I was like 9. And the teacher said, in case of a nuclear attack, get under your desk. And I said, why would I do that? And she said, because you'll burn faster.
Lewis Black, live on stage. Collins Center for the Arts, March 24th. Get tickets now at waterfrontconcerts.com.
Does your dream kitchen look like this? Or this? Or maybe you need a little more inspiration. Get it when you explore the complete in-store showroom displays at Hammond Lumber Company. When you find the look you like, the Hammond team will help you customize it, including accurate 3D renderings, so you can visualize your project before the work begins. Hammond offers delivery from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire and professional service after the sale. Your dream kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
Jerry's Used Cars has been a family-owned business for more than 30 years, currently in Corinna and Vesey. However, we have changed a little as we are no longer just a buy here, pay here dealership. We now have access to outside financing and also carry utility trailers. We would be happy to assist you with your next vehicle purchase. And don't forget, here at Jerry's Used Cars, we offer an extended warranty. So give us a call at either our Corinna or Vesey location.
An audit on Boeing's planes reportedly finds several manufacturing issues. A New York Times report shows the Federal Aviation Administration's audit on Boeing's 737 MAX jets found the manufacturer failed 33 of 89 tests. The report also says the FAA also found several issues with supplier Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the body of the 737s. The report also says Spirit's instructions were vague and unclear, with instances of using dish soap and hotel key cards during the manufacturing process. The audit followed an incident in January with an Alaska Airlines plane when a door panel blew off mid-flight.
At least 50 people were injured after a plane dropped abruptly during a mid-flight. The LATAM aircraft was traveling from Sydney, Australia to Auckland, New Zealand on Monday. LATAM Airlines says there was, quote, a technical event during that flight which caused a strong movement. The airline did not explain further. Paramedics attended to the injured passengers when the plane landed in Auckland. Some passengers say the incident happened very quickly and describe the scene as chaotic. About 50 people were treated for injuries, with 13 of them taken to a hospital. One patient is reportedly in serious condition.
President Biden's new budget request seeks $850 billion for defense. This comes as the U.S. Navy defeated a large-scale attack by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in the Red Sea this weekend, the largest single attack to date. U.S. warships shot down at least 28 drones in just 4 hours. Each SM-2 missile fired costs more than $2 million apiece to shoot down drones that cost a few $1,000s. The rebels, who are supported by Iran, continue to go after ships in the Red Sea despite Biden administration warnings. Days earlier, the Houthis fired an anti-ship ballistic missile at the MV True Confidence, a commercial bulk carrier, killing 3 sailors.
A proposal to potentially ban TikTok in the U.S. over concerns about its Chinese parent company. This morning, members of Congress are preparing to receive a classified briefing from U.S. intelligence agencies on the security threat posed by TikTok. It comes ahead of a House vote tomorrow on a bill that would require TikTok's Chinese parent company to sell its U.S. operations to an American company or be banned here in America. The bill is expected to pass the House with bipartisan support. Its future in the Senate remains unclear. U.S. intelligence agencies have included TikTok among their top threats to national security. The company says a ban would, quote, trample the First Amendment rights of 170 million Americans. People who make a living on TikTok videos have flooded Capitol Hill opposing that bill.
A woman in Nebraska is accused of exploiting a glitch at a gas pump to get free gas for 6 months. According to a report, the woman was able to get more than $27,000 worth of gas at a station in Lincoln, Nebraska, without paying for it. Police say the gas pumps received a software update that had a glitch, which allowed customers to pump gas for free by swiping a rewards card twice. Police also say another person paid the woman to get gas at a discounted price. The glitch has since been fixed, and the woman is charged with 1 count of theft by unlawful taking of $5,000 or more. Whoopsie.
Yeah, whoopsie.
Yeah. I had that happen to me once.
I stole a bunch of gas.
Right. Like my card went through, but then they didn't charge me, and then the pump just unlocked and let me pump.
Yeah. So what do? Do you go tell the attendant, or do you just take advantage of the situation?
I didn't steal it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There you go. You're a good person.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, a bobcat was hit by a car yesterday in southern Maine, but they're doing okay now. We'll check in on the bobcat.
We'll have that story and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
This isn't Charmin. No wonder I don't feel as clean.
Here's Charmin Ultra Strong.
Ah, my bottom's been saved.
With its diamond weave texture, Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better with fewer sheets and less effort. Enjoy the go with Charmin. Head & Shoulders Bare. Clinically proven dandruff protection with just 9 essential ingredients. No sulfates, no silicones, no dyes. Dandruff protection, minimal ingredients. Job done.
This spring is the perfect time to get away with a great deal on your favorite Hyundai model. All backed by America's best warranty, plus 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Add more joy to your journey at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get in and get away now before these deals are gone. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 0% APR or up to $1,500 bonus cash. See your Bangor Hyundai dealer.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, folks. Today is Tuesday, March 12th, 2024. It's also the Aztec New Year Day.
The Aztec New Year is the celebration of the new year, according to the Aztec calendar. Of course, the world was supposed to end in 2012 or whatever, but we're still here. The holiday is special to Nahua communities in Mexico, who are groups of indigenous folks who live in Mexico and parts of El Salvador. To those who celebrate this day, it's filled with traditional symbolism and celebrations, as we have in our own New Year's Day celebrations.
You call in to work today, say, I can't come in, it's Aztec New Year's Day.
Well, that's if you're indigenous
see how it goes.
To that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have tried that this morning. So.
Well, there's a holiday, as we've learned.
Yeah.
There's a holiday every day.
There is.
I can't come in today. It's National Take a Nap Day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I took a nap yesterday, too. It was
I didn't.
glorious.
I said I was going to, too.
Yeah. All right, time for some history. On this day in history, back in 1804, Samuel Chase became the first and so far only U.S. Supreme Court justice to be impeached. In 1850, the first U.S. $20 gold piece was issued. Take a look at that. Imagine carrying around a pocket full of those. I'd like to have them now. They'd be worth thousands of
I know.
dollars probably.
In other countries, I mean, I'm going to Canada this weekend. I'll have, what are they called, loonies and twoies?
Loonies, yeah.
Yep.
They have
that'll-
pretty
one
money
and
in
twos.
Canada.
They do.
Very colorful.
And it's waterproof.
Yeah.
The dollar bills, at least.
I like the loonies because you get the two different kinds of metals in one.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
neat. All right, a few decades later, in 1894, Coca-Cola was sold in bottles for the very first time. This was from a candy store in Vicksburg, Mississippi. I believe up until then, they just kind of served it at the soda fountain.
Right.
This way you could take it home with you.
Well, I wonder too, was that the era when it was actually prescribed for medicinal purposes and it had
Yeah, I
the
think it was
special
around that
ingredient
time.
then too,
Yeah.
the cocaine.
Yeah.
So that might, because it looks like a medicine bottle is why
Sure.
I say that.
Yeah. Get a head cold, have some Coca-Cola.
Right.
Yeah.
Have some amphetamine. In 1912, the Girl Scouts began in the U.S. under the name the Girl Guides, formed in Savannah, Georgia. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt conducts his first fireside chat as a U.S. president via the radio, speaking directly to over 60 million listening Americans 8 days after his inauguration. And in 1970, the U.S. lowers the voting age from 21 to 18. In 1999, Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic became members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, shortly before the group's 50th anniversary. And in 2009, American hedge fund investment manager Bernie Madoff pled guilty to various crimes related to his operation of a Ponzi scheme that was one of the largest in the world. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison.
For birthdays today, we have singer-songwriter James Taylor. He is 76 today. I believe he's coming back to Bangor for the waterfront this summer.
Yeah.
Actress and singer Liza Minnelli is 78. And Steve Harris, the bassist and keyboardist for the band Iron Maiden, is 68 years old today and still rocking strong.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
I have another sign that spring is fast approaching too. Gifford sent out a notice today. They're announcing when they're opening up their ice cream stands. The one in Bangor will open up on Friday at noon. On March 22nd, the following Friday, the one in Waterville will open up. And then Friday, April 5th, they're kind of staggering them like every other week. The one in Skowhegan will open up. And then finally, the last one will be in Farmington. I think they have like a mobile stand there.
Okay.
They're also going to offer a couple of new flavors this year. You can go to the stands, and one of those flavors is actually 5-in-1. You can go there and request the sampler, and they'll give you little 5 2-ounce servings of 5 different kinds of ice creams. That way, if you can't make up your mind, you can try them all in one little bowl. So that's kind of neat too. They're all good. I know you're not a big ice cream person, but
I like Gifford's.
maybe
I
this
like
is the
going to
year.
an ice cream stand.
Yeah.
I don't really keep it around the house, but as an event, as a little treat, it's lovely. That was my first job. And
Really?
It makes
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I was 15, and that makes me think, you know, they're probably hiring, at least at the Bangor one too. So if you're
Great summer job.
you know, anybody, it's a great job.
Spring is on the way. In fact, things will be warming up over the next couple of days. Tomorrow up into the 50s. Here's Devin with your forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, we have a gale warning that remains posted until 2 p.m. this afternoon. No, along the coast because of active surf that will be seen as an area low pressure continues to sit and spin right nearby. It's also giving us a few returns on the radar of some snow that's been developing. Now, we might notice a few snow flurries throughout the morning period today as we do move forward in time. Let's zoom things out right now, though. It's just the eastern parts of the state that's dealing with this now with this area low pressure that continues to slowly but surely track off towards the east. We'll start to lose this thing coming up later on today and into parts of tonight as well. Futurecast moving forward, though, again, we'll lose the snow, maybe a few flurries left over. The clouds will again begin to break up later on. So partly cloudy today, partly cloudy tonight, and partly cloudy again for the daytime tomorrow. A little bit of a breeze out there, though. Still windy. Some sustained winds up to 20 miles per hour at times today and also in the parts of tomorrow. By Wednesday morning, we'll start to see the winds backing off just a bit. So for today, mid-40s, partly cloudy, a few morning flurries with that northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, here we go, upper 20s, partly cloudy and windy with that northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. Alrighty, that hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, a few morning flurries, temperatures warming into the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. An injured bobcat that drew attention on social media is getting treatment right now at a wildlife center in southern Maine. On Saturday, Gorham police got reports that a car had hit a bobcat. The town's animal control officer responded and reached out to the Saco River Wildlife Center, which took the cat in. This beautiful 15-pound female suffered a broken tibia in her back leg and also some bruising.
The good news is while she's in our care right now, she is on medication that helps her with the pain, and she's being made to feel really comfortable. So she's not out on the side of the road. So even, whatever happens in the future, right now, she's being made to feel very comfortable.
The Wildlife Center says it will do some x-rays today to see if she has any more injuries. And if you would like to donate to the Bobcats recovery or to the Wildlife Center in general, there will be a link on our website at foxbangor.com. All of those rehabilitation centers around Maine, they rely on donations and that sort of thing, and they welcome the input.
Yeah. Oh, you don't get to see a bobcat that close up very often.
Looks
it's
like
very
he's
cute.
she is going to be okay, though.
Yeah, the cutest apex predator ever.
Yeah.
I showed that photo. I said this in the past hours, but I've showed it to my cat. I showed that photo and I was like, this is why you can't go outside.
Because it will eat you.
There's other big cats, and even those big cats will get hit by cars. Okay, moving right along this morning, right after the break, we'll have sports with Ryan Sudol. And then after that, we'll have an interview with folks from 10 Bucks Theater. They have all sorts of stuff going on in this upcoming season.
Don't go away.
Fishing trip hit a snag? Won't stop us. In a Nissan SUV, adventure begins where the road ends.
Drive a Nissan SUV. Get a low $319 per month lease on the 2023 Nissan Rogue.
Welcome to 207 Wellness, where transformation begins from within. Embark on a journey of self-betterment with our comprehensive services from weight management to IV hydration, vitamin supplementation, and neurotoxin injections. 207 Wellness is here to support your wellness goals. Take the first step toward a healthier, happier you, rejuvenate your body, refresh your mind, and reclaim your vitality with 207 Wellness. Transform your wellness, transform your life. Give us a call today.
Maine Commercial Solar offers a variety of services including solar system design, sales, maintenance, and installation. Maine Commercial Solar can help you with existing or new systems. We offer packages for installation by others, or we can help you build your own solar array, smaller residential, or anything in between. Maine Commercial Solar is currently hiring in Herman for multiple positions. We offer competitive pay, a 3% IRA match, vacation, holiday time, and a family-oriented environment. If interested, please call Jason at 848-7486.
On the next Last Man Standing.
I am going to need someone to watch Boy this week after school.
Here's a radical thought. What about either of his parents?
Dad.
Why do I have to do everything around here?
Thank you.
Eve, take care of Boy.
What?
Eve's babysitting job.
Wanna play a game?
No.
Becomes a nightmare.
We spilled in the kitchen. Well, clean it up. I tried, but now the hose won't shut off. You brought the hose in the house?
Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
Fishing trip hit a snag? Won't stop us. In a Nissan SUV, adventure begins where the road ends.
Drive a Nissan SUV. Get a low $319 per month lease on the 2023 Nissan Rogue.
Sign up for You Pick 'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Pick who you think is going to win and compete against other fans for prizes.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with Maine women's basketball. The top-seeded Black Bears facing off against 5th seed Binghamton in the America East semifinals Monday night. A spot in the conference title game on the line. To the pit we go. It was quiet for a good part of the game because the Bearcats came to play. Third quarter. This is Jaden Welts. A little step back and her left wing three is good. Binghamton up 5 after 3. Fourth quarter, Binghamton's Deny Bowman here, a sweet spin move as she gets into the paint. She's fouled, and she gets it to go. Bearcats up 7, but here come the Black Bears. Down 8, Olivia Rockwood nails her second of back-to-back threes. Now they're down 3 with under 6 minutes to go. Ann Simon brings it down, pulls up, 3 in your face. We are tied up at 61, and then it's Adriana Smith underneath. What a ball fake as she goes the other way and off glass for the lead, and they would hold that lead until the end. Maine, a thrilling comeback to win 64-58. They are conference finalists.
we know Liv's not going to keep shooting threes and miss them, Anne's not going to keep missing them. Like, we have that confidence, and I think that made a big difference for us.
We know it's going to be hard. It doesn't matter who we play. It's going to be a battle, just like today was, just like whenever we played Friday. But to have an opportunity is all you can ask for, and we have an opportunity, and I know they're going to give everything they have.
They will face 3-seed Vermont at 5 o'clock on Friday at the Pit in the America East Championship game. Okay, now let's go to the New England Patriots. The NFL's legal tampering period kicking off Monday, the offseason in full swing, and the Pats are making move after move after move. Let's take a look. Let's start with Sunday. The Pats agreeing to trade QB Mac Jones to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round draft pick Sunday. Jones, who was selected 15th overall back in 2021, had a very good rookie season with the Pats, but unfortunately his stats and stock dropped these past 2 seasons. He'll now get a chance to go to his hometown team and pair up with Trevor Lawrence. Also on Sunday, the Patriots agreeing on a new 3-year deal with veteran wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. Bourne, who has shown flashes since coming to the Patriots back in 2021, is coming back from a torn ACL he suffered back in October, but he is reportedly ahead of schedule and should be ready to go by training camp. Okay, now let's go to Monday. The Patriots agreeing to a 3-year deal with veteran free agent running back Antonio Gibson. He's expected to be a 3rd-down complimentary back to Ramondre Stevenson. The 25-year-old Speedy Gibson spent his first 3 seasons in Washington. Okay, now the Patriots also releasing veteran receiver Devontae Parker. The often injured Parker had just 64 catches in 2 seasons with the Patriots. Okay, almost done. The Patriots also signing veteran quarterback Jacoby Brissett Monday. The well-traveled backup was drafted by the Pats back in 2016, and with the addition of Brissett, the Pats seem destined to draft a young quarterback. And finally, the team re-signing offensive guard Mike Onwenu to a 3-year, $57 million deal. We can now inhale and exhale. That's a lot. Okay, now to Maine hockey we go. The now 8th-ranked team in the nation, clinching 3rd place in Hockey East and likely an NCAA berth with their weekend sweep of UMass. And Monday, another honor came their way. Freshman goalie Albin Boya winning Hockey East Rookie of the Week. The Sweden native stopped 60 shots across the 2 games against the Minutemen with a 93.8 save percentage. This continues his stellar debut season, taking the goalie 1 spot from Victor Osman and allowing 2 goals a game across 16 games. Okay, now to some UMaine softball. Black Bears wrapping up their 5-game stretch at the Colorado State Invitational Monday morning against Idaho State. Let's see how that went. Maine falling 9-5 to the Bengals. Black Bears with 8 hits, Bengals with 10. Lizzie Tomasini, the winning pitcher with 5 innings, 5 earned runs, and 4 Ks. Maine's Callie Thomas, the loss with 6 earned runs in just 1/3 inning. And the Black Bears' Anna Margaitis brought home 2 RBIs. Black Bears will next play a doubleheader against Nebraska and Northern Colorado Tuesday at Nebraska. And finally, to the Boston Bruins. The Bruins playing the St. Louis Blues at home Monday night and looking for their first 3-game regulation win streak since late January. Well, it didn't start out too good. 1-0 in the first period, and it's a 5-on-3. Pavel Buchnevich gets it to Robert Thomas, and his one-timer goes in. It's 2-0. Second period now. The Blues' Matt Kessel sends it down. Kasperi Kapanen corrals it, and he centers it to Kevin Hayes, the Boston native, and he scores. It's 3-0. Later on, Hayes looking again for his 2nd goal. Watch this thing go right off the post, but Brandon Saad cleans it up. It's 4-0 after 2. To the 3rd period we go now. Bruins' Pavel Zacha sends it around the boards. The puck is going to find Evan Shattenkirk. He gets it over to David Pasternak, and he snipes one to make it 4-1. But no 2013 Game 7 on this night. Blues go on to win 5-1. All right, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Imagine all the slopes you'll conquer.
Sick.
Imagine all the sights you'll see. Wow. Whoa. Okay, how about you imagine dropping me off?
Right now, you could get low 4.75% financing for 60 months on an adventure-seeking all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid or gas model, which could save you up to $2,000.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
My father worked at the mill for over 30 years. He was exposed to a great community and excelled at his job, but he was also exposed to asbestos. The air quality inside the mill was always his biggest complaint. He had no idea how deadly some of the products and materials were. When he was diagnosed with mesothelioma, we knew to call Joe Bornstein's office to get my dad the help he needs and the justice he deserves.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
The Maniac Snack Shack. You will find delicious, tasty, insane desserts. Oh, and wait, there is more. We offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner options for take home. You want something special? Let us know and we'll create that perfect treat for any occasion. The Maniac Snack Shack. Place your order today.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with folks from 10 Bucks Theater, Julie Lisnat and Dina. She is the new president of 10 Bucks Theater. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And you folks are here, of course, to talk about, it's a busy upcoming season for you.
We have got a lot of things coming up.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why we had to bring some papers
I
with
know,
us
I had to
make sure that we didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
But
so what's first? I think something's this weekend.
Yes,
correct?
this weekend we got a grant from the county commissioners for a new movie setup, and so we're going to start showing art house movies.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this Friday and Saturday, 15th and 16th of March at 6:30, we are going to be showing Charlie Chaplin's 1925 classic, The Gold Rush.
Cool. And that should be seen specifically in that type of venue like that. Very cool.
And the grant also allowed us to buy a popcorn machine.
Wow.
So we've got that going.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Diversification. It's always good stuff.
Yes. And it's by suggested donation.
Okay.
We suggest $10, but you can come in and pay more, less, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's in our Bangor Mall space.
Very accessible. Sounds good. And next, I believe you're directing the next one, Dina, right?
I am.
What's
this one? This is The Book of Will. It's a really wonderful show. Actually, I absolutely love the script. It's set like 3 years after the death of William Shakespeare. And the remaining members of his acting troupe, the Kingsmen, are realizing that if they don't get his works printed or published, that they're going to be lost to time. So,
wow.
Yeah,
so it appreciates the folks who kind of made sure that he was such a memorable guy.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Amazing.
Yep.
So that's coming up. It says it starts on March 21st. So that's the weekend after next.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So everything, final touches right now, right?
Yes, definitely.
And finally, we're a little short on time, but what's the last one? Looks like Henry V?
Yeah, so we're doing Shakespeare Under the Stars this summer is going to be Henry V, and we have auditions coming up for that starting on the March 22nd and 23rd. And for all of these events, definitely visit our Facebook page and our website at www.10buckstheater.org.
Amazing, Julie. Always very organized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for coming on. We'll send it over to Devin Biggs for that full forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college. Alrighty, gale warnings remain posted until 2 p.m. along the coast later today, though, because an area low pressure continues to sit and spin. And of course, it's causing the surf to get a little bit active out there as well. Here's the wave heights right now. This is why we have gale warnings still posted, because of 2 to 11 foot wave heights being noted according to the buoys there. We'll start to notice some some improvements coming up soon. Alrighty, here we go. Area low pressure that's pretty much right off to the east right now, not moving very quickly, still causing a few snow showers and snow flurries to develop this morning. We'll start to lose those as we head towards the afternoon period. Let's zoom things out. We're going to work on pushing this off to the east, and we'll start to calm things down, at least for a little bit, though. You notice we have a little bit of a break across a good part of the country, a little bit of energy across the upper Midwest, but again, we will be watching out for some precipitation that will move in our backyard coming up soon. Futurecast moving forward, though, we'll be watching for a few flurries throughout the morning period. We will lose those during the afternoon period. By tonight, though, just the clouds sticking around. It looks to be about it, along with the gusty winds as well. Once we head towards the Wednesday, a partly cloudy sky with more clouds on the way coming up as we head towards Wednesday night and the parts of Thursday morning. Maybe a few returns of moisture, but I think we'll stay dry for the most part, though, through parts of Thursday. But otherwise, though, we will watch for a little bit of energy that will be on the way as we head towards your Thursday. Some rain showers possible in a few spots, maybe mixing in with a little bit of snow further off towards the north. And as we proceed forward, though, another wave of energy tries to get in here as we head towards Friday afternoon, mainly for the southern parts of the state, but some of those may try to sneak in to our backyard as well. We'll keep an eye on that for Friday. Then once we head towards the weekend, though, again, a few rain showers possible, maybe some snow to the north. Again, we'll keep an eye on this, too, as we get a little bit closer. Otherwise, though, gusty winds possible that could reach up to around 35 miles per hour again throughout the daytime period for us today. Will remain breezy again for the daytime tomorrow. Average high temperature is 39 degrees. We'll do mid-40s for us today, lower 50s Wednesday, upper 40s Thursday, low 50s again Friday, and 40s again Saturday, Sunday, and also into your Monday. For today, here we go, mid-40s, partly cloudy, a few morning flurries with that northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. By tonight, here we go, upper 20s, partly cloudy and windy out there, northwest wind getting up to about 35 miles per hour. Tomorrow, here we go, lower 50s, partly cloudy, the wind's calming down out of the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. A few higher gusts cannot be ruled out. All righty, here's a look at extended forecast brought to you by Washington County Community College. Rain showers possible Thursday with highs in the upper 40s. Small chance for rain on Friday, highs in the low 50s. And mid-40s on Saturday with a chance for rain and snow showers.
It's Hyundai's Getaway Sales Event at Quirk in Bangor. Experience unmatched safety and style. Lease the 24 Kona SEL all-wheel drive SUV for only $299 per month and enjoy 3 years of 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
You know what today is? It's Tuesday. But no matter what day of the week, Lowry & Associates is your go-to law firm. If you've been hurt, call us right now.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Hi, I'm Angelina Mucci.
And I'm Andy Mucci of Family Fun Bowling Center.
When we want to know the weather, we go to foxbangor.com.
Celebrating our 50th anniversary year, Family Fun Bowling Center has 20 lanes of 10-pin bowling at its best.
When your gut is out of balance, your body gives you signs. So if you're frustrated with occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort, help stop the frustration and start taking Align every day. Align Probiotic was specifically designed by gastroenterologists to help relieve your occasional digestive upsets, so you can enjoy life. When you feel the signs, it's time to try Align.
Harvey High is now in session. Today's subjects, science.
Name something that can make the earth move.
Heavy rain.
Hold on, it's raining.
Health class.
Something you drop in the toilet and still use it afterward.
Toothbrush.
Nah, I'm not sticking that in my mouth. We're not doing teeth brushing today.
Get schooled with Family Feud.
Weeknights at 7 on Fox 22.
It's Ram Truck Month at Quirk. Save $64.05 on the 23 Ram Bighorn and buy for $49,620. Or take advantage of the Jeep Celebration event. Lease the 24 Wrangler Sahara 4xE for $499 per month. First payment only, due at signing. It's your Ram or Jeep. Find it at Quirk.
Well, times are tough, and that's why this Massachusetts library is offering a solution to pay off your overdue book fees. The Worcester Public Library wants to encourage more people to read and is doing this by scratching certain fees for a small cost. Get it, scratching? A photo of a cat is all you'll need. The program is called Feline Fee Forgiveness and is part of the library's March Meowness. The library's executive director says outstanding fees tend to keep people away from libraries, which is the opposite of what they want. This program will hopefully bring more people in and give the location lots of fun photos of cats. Well, if you don't have a cat, no problem. The library will also accept photos of dogs, raccoons, orcas, or capybaras, whatever you happen to have around the house.
I like that plan.
Yeah.
I have a book that I'm reading right now from the library, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it back in time. I'm going to try to.
You can try to give them a picture of your cat, see if they'll take it.
I'll let them know about this place in Massachusetts. I'll be like, well, you know.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. A Cleveland Clinic sleep expert is weighing in on how long the ideal nap is. Sleep psychologist Alicia Roth recommends taking naps that are 30 minutes or less. She says that anything longer than that can leave you feeling groggy when you wake up. Dr. Roth suggests taking a nap earlier in the afternoon instead of closer to the time that you go to bed. Dozing off even for 10 or 20 minutes too close to bedtime can make it more difficult for you to fall asleep. Roth says not to rely heavily on naps and recommends speaking with a doctor if you're regularly having trouble sleeping. That's a tough one. If you experience trouble with sleep or insomnia, it's, there's limited things they can do for you.
It's awful.
Yep. Okay, on that note though, it does look like we're out of time. If you missed anything, head to foxbangor.com.
Have a great day, everyone.